$332 million. That's what PSG have just agreed to sell the world's best player for. But will he go? The Leafs have a goalie tandem in place for the season, so all's good, right? Manoah did better, but is he back? And when is a waggle too much of a waggle? It's the Homestand Show. Buckle up. All right, we're off and running here. It's the Homestand Show. Albert Vartanian, Sean McCormick with the tightest fade I've ever seen on this Homestand Show. You got a good
Don't
fade.
Disrespect it like
That's
that.
pretty tight.
He took a page out of my book.
That's pretty tight, I must say. I usually come in with a decent fade, but that one, that's an all-timer. Justin Pooney, also with a tight fade.
It's kind of losing its touch right now.
You're like a every 4 days fade guy.
7 days. Every 7 days.
But when you first started here, it was like every 3 days.
Inflation kind of hit a little bit at the taper it back a little bit.
Well done, nice pun. But you know what it is, though? I was just talking to James Harman about this, who will be on the show later to talk about Mbappe, Messi, and everything going on in the world of football. But haircuts are fucking expensive.
They are, dog.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking upwards of $50. Like, my buddy cuts my hair. He charges $40. I throw me on it. He's a good friend.
Hey.
Right? But then you go to some barbers, like $80, $90. Ellie, producer Ellie's paying $20 for it. He's going to Supercuts. Yours has to be. Can I throw the number out there?
Throw a number.
I'm gonna go 65 all in.
Haircut and beard? Is that including tip or without tip?
No, everything.
He's doing beard too. No, he's a little bit more.
How
than
much
that.
you pay?
I'll say
$80.
I'll say 80.
You pay $80?
No, he's more. It's more.
What is it?
It's $80 with tip.
God, Justin.
For haircut and beard.
Boom! What are you doing, dude? What are you doing?
I lived in downtown.
I need a raise. If you're paying
I live
$80.
in downtown Toronto.
Yeah.
Right. That's the standard cut for in downtown Toronto.
But it hurts you a little bit every time you pay.
No.
80 bananas?
I'll do it. It's fine.
Doesn't make a dent, eh?
Nah.
It does make a dent.
No, it doesn't.
But here's the thing. As an adult, you build your budget and you include what the haircut's going to cost this much a month. And so that means, don't.
What a budget that
I
is.
go like every 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Who cares, man? Like,
What'd that run you? Would that run you 45?
This is a 60, 65.
Okay. Yeah.
See, you guys.
But I go
also,
every 8 weeks, so
you guys are
it works
married.
out.
You guys are married, right?
He's not married.
He's gonna be married very soon,
Maybe.
right? I'm not. I gotta look my best.
Yeah.
You never know what you.
No, but it's fine. Like I pay 50, you pay 80, and that's crazy, man. But in this business that we're in front of the camera, you got to keep it tight. You got to keep it nice.
I also don't pay for cable. So do you pay for cable?
Yeah, why don't you pay for cable?
Because
illegal things. Yeah. I was just talking to my wife about getting cable because we just have internet.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to get a cable package. I like having the remote, live sports or whatever. It's like $130 a month just for cable alone, and you get like 7 channels. You get like channel 5 where it tells you what's on TV. Then you get like French channels, and no disrespect to French or that channel, but come on, $130, and then another $100 for internet.
Do you still have a landline home phone?
Well, they throw it in.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they get you.
It's like a sweetener. Like remember when Mrazek got traded to Chicago from the Leafs? They threw in that sweetener.
What a segue that was.
That's what Rogers and Bell. That's what they do. Anyway.
Kojico?
It wasn't supposed to be a segue.
Splenda,
It's a little Splenda. Yeah, a little Splenda.
Brought to you by.
Can I get 2 Splendas and a half sweetener? My Starbucks. Speaking of which, the Toronto Maple Leafs, they have a number 1 goalie. Ilya Samsonov.
They have a signed number 1 goalie.
They've signed number 1 goalie. So they went to arbitration, as we all know. The Leafs came in with a $2.4 million ask.
Yeah.
Samsonov team, $4.9 million. Arbitrator landed on 3.55. It's a 1-year deal for Samsonov. It looks like they're going to go with a tandem. Mm-hmm. By all accounts, Matt Murray is going to go. I don't know how he's going to go, but what has opened up after this arbitration hearing is a second buyout window.
Yeah.
So the expectation is for Matt Murray to be bought out. It looks like the Leafs are going to be going with Samsonov and Joseph Wall next season, which is, you got a tandem for under $5 million, 2, decent goalkeepers. We don't know goaltenders. We don't know what we have in terms of Joseph Wall, how good he can be, at least the Leafs. But, you got to be pretty happy if you're Brad Treliving that you're coming away with a number 1 guy at less than $4 million.
Here's the thing. Are you happy, though? Because right now, again, they got him at a good price. We talked about it at the end of last week that, maybe around, I thought it was going to be around 4.25 around there. I think, Sean, I don't remember, you were on the same.
I said 3.5.
It's 3.5, right? So Sean was more so on the money than I was. I forget what you said, Albert. But
it's just basically down the middle. I think the exact middle is like 3.65.
It's a big win for the Maple Leafs to get him for 1 year at that price. Of course, but now the real work takes place. $12 million over the cap, guys. That is something where, all the new assistant GMs, Brad Treliving, all that, they're really going to have to do something, right? And next year, Samsonov's a UFA, right? So his market expands greatly, right? Add him to the list of all the other UFAs the Toronto Maple Leafs have. These, and we don't know how much the cap's going to go, even if it goes up $5 million next year. Well, we know Matthews is going to get a raise. We expect Nylander to get a bigger raise, right? And what is Samsonov worth, right? And I think this year, this is going to add more fuel to the fire for Ilya Samsonov, right?
Yeah, but in a good way too.
In a good way, right?
It can go both ways.
He's gonna want to play well and show out to get a bigger deal, right? Again, the cap issues though, they're gonna keep on growing until a move is made. So now, what do they do with Matt Murray? Even if they put Jake Muzzin on LTIR, there's still $6 million and some change that you still got to maneuver out by the time the season starts. So it's gonna be dicey now.
Sean, let's focus on Samsonov for the Leafs. You get him at 3.55.
Yep.
He was the goaltender in net that won you your first round in 19 years.
Yep.
Had a career year, and he's making less than $4 million.
Yeah, no, I think, again, what Justin says, I think that's a good deal. Looking ahead, I don't expect him to return to the Toronto Maple Leafs after this season. I just think that it will be too much money for what he's going to ask for and what the Leafs can afford to spend. But for this year, great goalie to have for the Leafs. Great value at $3.5 million. There's only like 4 or 5 starting goalies in the NHL that make less than Samsonov, and Samsonov had like the 5th best goals against and the 6th best save percentage, or in and around that. And he only played 42 games. And to be honest, I expect him to play around that amount this year. I feel like if Samsonov is your guy and he's your guy this year, you have to see what you have with Joseph Woll for next year, because he's on the squad for another few years. So you have to give him enough games to see what he's capable of. So it's a big tryout for Samsonov. I'd be a little pissed off if I was him. Play with a little chip on your shoulder. I know he's come off in interviews kind of calm, cool, breezy. But yeah, he's being underpaid now, even with the arbitrator ruling. I think he deserves a little bit more based on what other goalies are making. And we'll see what happens. I expect Matt Murray to get bought out. I think the buyout window is Wednesday or Friday.
Yeah,
it opens up.
So I expect him to get bought out, because I just don't know who's going to trade for Matt Murray.
Yeah, so if he does get bought out, before I get to you, Justin, the first year against the cap for the Leafs would be $687,000, and the following year would be $2 million towards the cap.
Which it might not sound like a lot, but $2 million is a decent chunk that you'd be paying for somebody who's not going to be playing on your roster. Especially the team that's always just right on the edge of the cap. You brought up an interesting point, Sean, about Samsonov and the Wall platoon thing. But do you think this team is set up to where they can afford to allow a young goalie to give him some more rope, or especially when it's a win now situation? Or would you rather want to give more games for Samsonov and just see if he can really carry the load? If you want to try to 3 times do a longer term thing, right? Or like you said, you do the platoon.
Yeah, you're looking at a team that's a 100-point team, generally speaking. They are built offensively like a team that should make the playoffs. Obviously, things happen in the NHL, and you never know what's going to happen. But I don't expect this team to miss the playoffs. Excuse me. So therefore, I think you can, especially based off the numbers that Joseph Woll showed last year. I think he won 6 out of the 7 games he played in the regular season.
Get down the stretch, yeah.
So I'm not concerned about Joseph Woll suiting up for the Leafs and playing fill-in games, even getting a little bit more starting time. So no, I think the platoon is fine. Obviously, you have like a 1 and a 2. It's still I don't think they should play the equal amount of games, but you got to at least give Woll 30 games.
I think that's what he gets. I really like this move.
If we set the line at Joseph Woll games for the season over under, what do you think it would be?
25 and a half?
25 and a half?
Something like that. Yeah, listen. Samsonov played 42. I think he's probably going to get maybe 10 more games. And that's it might not seem like that much, but it's a lot for a guy who's never played more than 44 games in his entire career. But less than $4 million. Joseph Woll is going to stay with the first team, because he has to go through waivers if they're sending him down. So that means it's Samsonov and Woll tandem. 30 games, you get to really see what Woll is really made of.
Yeah.
You saw him in the playoffs. He did well with pressure. Samsonov did well as well, but I mean, a couple injuries which weren't great, knee injury and a neck injury in the playoffs. So they're going to have to manage that. But listen, the guy completely outplayed his, $2 million salary last season. I think he deserved a bit of a boost. And now, listen, it's a contract year, not only for him, but for a bunch of guys in the Leafs. So, I mean, it's kind of risky because that can go both ways. But listen, if you get the majority of these free agents to play for a contract next season, you're going to get the best out of all of them.
You will.
So it could be a good move for Brad Treliving, the Toronto Maple Leafs.
The problem is, too, is that, like, it's not like the Leafs don't value him. The Leafs are just painted into a corner.
Totally.
You know what I mean? It's not like they're like, sorry, Samsonov, like, we could pay you, but we don't want to. They can't pay him.
Yeah.
No. And
So
it's going to be a problem with starting, there was 12 UFAs next year, right? And 2 big ones in Nylander and Matthews. And then you have the Marner extension the year after, right? So the cap problems with this team are not going anywhere. Nope. And that's what happens now when you have set the precedent all the way back with that first Nylander extension that Kyle Dubas gave out all those years ago, where the price just went up and up and up. And now you're going to be looking at, they could have 4 guys making $10+ million.
I don't see it.
I don't see it happening, but you never know. But listen, Brad Treliving is coming in now. He's fixing the mistakes. He's got to deal with these cap issues, right? But listen, for a guy like Samsonov, I think it's a pretty good deal. And I just have a hunch that one of the reasons why they decided to go into arbitration is to open up the second buyout window.
Sure.
Because if you look at the Mrazek deal, they sent Mrazek to Chicago and threw in a pick. Does Treliving really want to do that now? Like it's such a waste of a pick, but if you're painted into a corner, you got to do what you got to do.
Where does Murray go, do you think, if they can trade him?
I have no idea. He has a 10-team no trade, so I don't know.
So, I did a little bit of looking, and, like, it's like Anaheim, like, they have the most cap space. I'm like, well, they've got John Gibson. Arizona, you know what I mean? Like, they don't really have, like, a solid goaltending option. He could maybe go there, maybe to Chicago, but, I mean, Matt Murray probably has them on his no trade list, right? So the options are limited, so I think that the only reasonable solution would be for the Leafs to buy him out. I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah,
we'll see what happens in the next couple of days.
You talk about the sweeteners, right? The Leafs only have a first-round pick, then they don't have a second. They have the Islanders' third-round pick, and they have so they're running low on draft capital. They don't have a second-round pick next year either. So you gotta be very careful on what you're going to be giving away because eventually you're going to need those draft picks and reacquire some draft capital.
I wonder what comes back if they trade Nylander, right? If they move him, obviously you want to get a player. Some picks will probably be involved, you would think.
Probably be a hockey trade, I would think. That'd be
more of a hockey trade?
More of a hockey deal rather than acquiring picks.
But you, on the same point, though, you can't bring back a lot of salary either, right?
That's true.
So they're a little handcuffed that way. Yeah. So it's an interesting time, and I mean, luckily we've got all summer to talk about it.
They're $12.3 million over the cap. Right now, it looks like Jake Muzzin's going to go back on the LTIR. They can't put Murray on the LTIR because he's healthy. He says
he's 29.
He's ready to go.
He doesn't want to go anywhere.
But he gets bumped, and then who knows what happens. And so he does have a 10-team no trade. When he was with Ottawa, he blocked the trade to Buffalo. So Buffalo's another team on that trade. Not saying that they're looking for a guy like Matt Murray, but he won't be on the list. Okay, let's transition to baseball. The Jays almost swept by Seattle, and what was like, honestly, dude, it was like a playoff series. The past 3 games in Seattle. And they somehow managed to win the last night 4-3, yesterday afternoon, I should say.
Yesterday afternoon.
Manoah on the mound looked a bit better. 5 1/3, 3 hits, 3 earned, 6 Ks, 4 walks. The Jays win 4-3.
Those walks, man.
He looks to me like a bottom of the rotation guy.
Well,
no, and I don't mean that disrespectfully.
No. Sorry, I'm laughing at the board.
No, Money Manoah. Maybe not so money.
I mean, it sounds good, alliteration, but
it's good. Listen, 91 pitches through 5 innings.
I don't know about those walks, man.
Yeah, the walks aren't great. He hit a batter as well, gave up a big bomb. But to me, maybe middle to bottom of the rotation type of guy. That's how I look at Manoah now.
Yeah, I mean, if he can go out and give you these kinds of outings, they're not great. They're not great, but they're okay.
It's better than 1 inning.
And it's better than 1 inning. It's better than 3 innings. It's better than a lot of the times we see Manoah out there. I would take this as a pass. I'm still very worried about Manoah long term. Again, 5 walks against San Diego, 4 walks against Seattle yesterday. Giving up 61% hard hit rate yesterday. So, like, balls that are getting hit, they're getting hit hard. You got 10 whiffs out of on his slider, which is really good. 0 whiffs on the fastball. So that means when he's throwing the fastball, batters are hitting it. And he throws the fastball a lot. So 52% strike rate, not good. So, again, I'm a little worried about Manoah long term. Give him the pass yesterday. I thought it was a fine start. Now he up against the Angels, I think, on the weekend. We'll see what he can do there. The Angels are a very good team against right-handed pitching. So the future, I don't know. I'm not convinced that he's back, but I'll give that start a pass.
One more before the deadline.
The bar has dropped so far on this guy, right?
But he's working his way.
He's working again. That's what I'm saying. You call it a pass, right? With this start, when Manoah was at the peak of his powers last year, would be a poor start, right?
I would agree. Yeah.
And now, because he's fallen to such depths, he's working his way back up. But I don't think this changes anything. They still have to acquire a starting pitcher, I think, before the deadline. I don't think, like you mentioned, all those stats, the hard hit rate, the walks, all of that. That's, you can only play with fire for so long before you're going to get burned. And I think if this continues to happen with the walks and letting runners get on base, when it comes to playoff time and when it comes to October and September, you're gonna get got by these players and by these teams. So I think it doesn't change anything. You still got to go out there and get another pitcher.
Yeah, they left just 4 on, by the way, in the last game, which is better than the 10 they've been leaving on base in the Padres series.
Yeah, and to Justin's point too, I mean, once you get to the playoffs, you're playing against upper echelon teams. So you're probably playing against higher level offenses than the Mariners, higher offenses than the Detroit Tigers, who had a good outing against 2 starts ago. So it's got to get better, but otherwise he just won't see any action if the Jays make the playoffs. I don't think.
We'll see. And also, we should mention the Jays did have a lead in all of those games. The bullpen also blew all of those games. Almost blew it yesterday afternoon as well. As of right now, they would play the Twins in the wild card game, which is not a bad matchup. But listen, it can be worse, right? You're looking at Boston or the Yankees potentially. Maybe even the Angels. Who knows?
It's tight, guys. You look at Boston, New York. Remember last week, New York looked like the Yankees were left for dead, and now they're only 2 games out, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy how these can change. The Mariners were 6 games out last week before the series started. Now they're 4.5 out. So every week now it's going to be, or every night it's going to change from one team to another, and it's the Jays this is back-to-back series losses against San Diego and Seattle. Now they go to LA to play against the Dodgers, which is no easy task. So it's going to be, an uphill battle, but we're going to see what the Jays are made of.
Yeah, quickly on the Dodgers. So the Jays got a 3-game set in LA against the Dodgers. Tonight on the mound, Jose Barrios going up against Michael Grove. This is 6th start ever in his career, because the Dodgers have some serious injuries when it comes to starting rotation. Yeah. It's a good spot, I think, for the Jays, Sean. It's
a good start. I mean, for the series, facing an inexperienced pitcher like Grove, he's looked all right in his 6 starts. I think he's got a 2-2 record. He's got a 6 ERA, 4.41 xFIP, so his underlying numbers are a little bit better than his what he's showing. But yeah, I mean, to me, it depends on what this offense is going to bring you tonight and over the next few days. The Jays offense, aside from what they did on Saturday, putting up 8 in a loss against the Mariners, has been a little bit inconsistent outside of the resurging Vladdy Guerrero. I mean, Bichette struggling at the plate all of a sudden.
Yep.
Springer had a rough series against the Mariners. Kirk grounding into double plays constantly. So I don't know. I mean, the Dodgers have a hell of a lineup at the top of the order, like we talked about on the Parlay Show earlier. You got Freeman, you got Mookie, you got Max Muncy, JD Martinez. So it's a tough lineup for the Blue Jays pitchers to navigate, and it'll be a tough series. I mean, I don't see either team getting swept. I think one team wins 2 of 3.
Yeah.
Hopefully the Jays fall on the right side of that.
Yeah, Barrios, Bassick, Kikuchi.
I was going to say, what a ballpark tour for the Jays, playing at T-Mobile Park, one of the best parks in baseball, and now going to Dodger Stadium, the iconic Dodger Stadium,
and then back to the Dome, baby.
What a road trip that would have been. Seattle, then LA.
I know the crowd was fantastic in Seattle. As mentioned, Barrios on the mound. I like the Jays, honestly, tonight. I think the road dogs like plus 105, something like that.
Yeah, we talked about it. We like the under.
You're in the under. Yeah, I don't mind the under either. Barrios, this guy's been amazing since May 6th. I found this. He's allowed 2 or fewer earned runs in 11 of them. 10-4 the Jays in that time. 2.64 ERA. And this Michael Grove, he has an ERA north of 6. I think the Jays light him up today.
Speaking of baseball, did you guys see what Drake did last night at his concert in New York?
Bringing out Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge.
Look at that.
Look at this. So this was just, what was this, Justin? Just a walk?
So Drake's on a tour right now. So in every city he's gone to, he's been walking out from the concourse down the stands with someone from each city.
Ah, gotcha.
Right. So I think New York it was Giancarlo Stanton, Aaron Judge. I think in Chicago he walked out with
CM Punk.
No, it wasn't CM Punk. It was somebody. Detroit he walked out with Eminem or something like that. So
right.
I thought this was kind of funny as a Jays fan. If you guys are one, I'd be kind of pissed seeing that. Like,
Nah, no.
He's got no association to the
Who's he going to
Jays,
bring out in
really.
Toronto? You think he's bringing out Vladdy and Bo?
maybe
No.
us three.
I think more.
Maybe he'll bring out us three.
Who's he more likely to bring out? Vladdy and Bo or Marner and Matthews?
I think us three are more likely than
Or maybe Siakam and Scotty Barnes.
maybe
Yeah.
Grady Dick.
It's got to be somebody from the
I
NBA.
can see that. I can totally
Yeah.
see Grady Dick.
Yeah,
Hell, he
it's
doesn't
got to
even
be
know
an,
what he's
an
talking
NBA star.
It was-
I don't expect him to bring out any baseball
That's Drake. I don't
players
think
or-
Drake's ever shown love to the Blue Jays ever.
I want him to see. You know who I want him to bring out? Don Mattingly and Guy Boucher and Mike Van Ryn at night. Just to wrap up the show. Mikey V on the show. Okay, let's wrap this block up. Let's talk about some golf. Brian Harman.
Yeah, Wiggles.
Oh my God, this guy just shut it down on Sunday. Listen, I had a nice ticket on Sepp Straka to win, and Harman shut that down. Look at this, dude. I'm watching him. I'm like, is this thing on loop? He's just got a serious waggle issue going. Look at this. Locks.
Look
He
at that
does it
counter.
like
Imagine being the guy who has to count that.
So
Just
it
press
gets
the button.
shorter and shorter, but the closer he gets to actually hitting the ball. But he did this all week, and credit to him.
How
Big win.
pissed off would you be if you were golfing with him?
Well, ask Brooks Koepka. He'd probably lose his mind. But this guy was locked in, dude. I think 59. I've heard 58 of 59 or 59 of 60
Yeah,
in terms of putts made inside of 10 feet.
you're gonna win the tournament if you.
All he
if
did on
those
Sunday,
putts.
put it
Play
on
it
the
safe.
green, lag putt.
Yeah, when you're
Tap.
five
Lag
strokes
putt,
up,
tap.
right? You're
Yeah.
5 strokes up
Yeah.
entering Sunday. I mean,
Yeah.
that's all you got to do is play it safe. Don't hit in any of those pop bunkers. Just make sure that you get it on the green
Yeah.
and leave your. I mean, the way he's putting, put it on the green and then it's going in the cup. You know what I mean? So
145 to 1. I think he closed at minus 220.
We talked about it on the parlay show earlier today. People were you were only watching it to see if he would have a colossal failure. It was already written that he
That's
played
why I
safe,
was watching. I'm
right?
not gonna lie.
And
I wanted Sepp Straka to win.
honestly speaking, like it, as a casual golf fan, right? It's hard to watch majors when none of the big names are really, really in contention. Like I
Right.
know,
Rahm was in contention
you know,
on
Rory kind of
Sunday.
made a late run at the end, and Jason Day was kind of there, but it was like a foregone conclusion going to the last round that unless Brian Harman really just
He
had
just blew up.
Yeah, had a what was it? What was the guy that did it before the British
tons.
Open? The Van de Vel guy.
Van de Vel.
Remember it's like he had like the visor with the long hair. What was his name? He's a French guy who collapsed at the Open.
Were you watching Live Golf? I don't know.
No,
who
no,
this guy is.
he's
I'm gonna
right.
go-
He's an
I'm gonna-
older golfer.
Oh, this has been way back. Oh, you're talking about like, oh my goodness. And Stuart Sink ended up winning? Yeah, I know you're talking about. I can't think of it right now.
Jean Van de Velde.
There you go.
There
yeah,
you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that, like, Harman was just way too locked in. He doesn't hit the ball far. He just puts it in the fairway.
Yeah, I mean,
Everybody else is hitting into the fescue. John Rahm was all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, Rory, another year with no majors. So that'll be a huge talking point come in April. Another big talking point coming out of the Open is Justin Thomas.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. So, listen, he was cut again. Another tournament, another major. He's now jumping into the 3M Open, which is happening this week in the Twin Cities, because he's outside of the top 70 when it comes to FedEx Cup standings. So now he needs to make up some ground. He's outside of the top 6 spots for the Ryder Cup. All is going wrong for Justin Thomas at the moment.
yeah, I mean, his best finish this season is 4th, which is unlike Justin Thomas, only 2 top fives this year, which is again not very good. What I want to bring up to you though, I believe it was back in May he pulled out of the Byron Nelson, I believe it was, with a wrist injury, and since then he's missed 4 of 6 cuts. So maybe he's just not healthy. So
That's true.
maybe it's just like we're not. I don't think Justin Thomas is a young, phenomenal golfer who's had a pretty good track record over the last few years. I don't think
Yeah,
that
man.
he's done. I think maybe he just needs some time off to rest the wrist. But why? If it's not hurting you that badly and you still can make some money. I mean, not if you're missing these cuts, but I mean, you're probably getting some sponsorship money here and there.
And there's
you know,
also
to be
so much
Justin
money now
Thomas.
involved in the FedEx Cup playoffs where you want to be there, right? And that's probably why he's doing it. And also, like, you know, for how poor he's been playing, we talked before, there's chances are he's probably going to be on the Ryder Cup team, and it's good. It's good.
I'm not sold on that.
You think like, we went through the list earlier today? Like, you know that it's Justin Thomas. He's one of the biggest names in golf. He's been a stalwart on the American team for years. You think he's probably going to be there at least as a captain's pick alongside of guys like Morikawa, Max Homa. Pick the poison on what else you want to take, right?
He needs to make a serious run down the
Yeah.
stretch for the FedEx Cup playoffs. So I just want to go through some of his results recently. So it's May 21st, which was the PGA Championship. T65, cut at the Memorial, cut at the U.S. Open. T9 at the Travelers, cut at the Rocket Mortgage. T60 at the Genesis, cut at the Open Championship. This isn't just 1 or 2 tournaments.
No.
This is a serious run. Like, his season could be over if he doesn't, manage to at least make the cut at the 3M Open, which would be shocking.
Maybe he needs to hang out with Tiger for a week and get his mind
He
right.
does hang out with Tiger. It's just not
spend a week with
working.
Tiger and Jupiter and, get right and then come back and play.
Anyway, Sepp Straka, by the way. I'm on the Sepp Straka train.
Jeez.
29-1 to win the 3M Open.
I wonder how many
Lock it
people
in.
out there actually who Seb Straka is.
Well, it's for me to know. I got to inform the people, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So now they're going to go say, oh, this guy's been pretty good.
Yeah,
T2 at the Open? Can he make the Ryder Cup team? Who knows? You never know with Sepp Straka. He looks fantastic. Georgia Bulldog, by the way.
Ooh.
Yeah, you guys didn't know.
Look at you guys.
I think Brian Harman is a Georgia Bulldog
Yeah,
too.
they're boys, man.
Okay.
After Harman won, they gave him a big hug and rubbed his head.
Brian Harman said he's going to hop on his new Kubota tractor and cut grass for a whole day.
That's what I'm talking about. Win the
A good
Open and go
lawn
cut
guy?
some grass.
Yeah.
You think your wife would get mad if you bought a Kubota tractor
No,
for your
because I
lawn?
would just throw her like a couple mil and she'd be like, oh, you can do whatever you want. I don't care what you do. Cut the grass, make a fence, do whatever you want. Anyway, let's take a break. Coming up after the break, we'll talk some footy. Lots of footy. Me, James Sharman, Sara Poraria, Edwin Tubb, all the way from London, England, is going to join us. We'll talk about Messi. We'll talk about the Women's World Cup and Mbappe. Saudi Arabia coming after Mbappe with the report being $700 million in terms of salary alone. So we'll talk about that coming up after the break. Welcome back to the Homestand Show. It's a packed house. Talking footy, James Sharman.
Yeah.
James Sharman. Edwin Tubb making his debut here on the Homestand Show. Sara Poraria, who's obviously here to talk about what Messi did over the weekend. But first of all, James Sharman, what a beautiful hairdo you got.
You know what? See, this is offensive to me.
First of all, you got a nice haircut.
I come in today, right, and the first thing Poraria says to me is, wow, look at you, eh? Had a vacation, not on the show today, I guess. Look at the hair, and look what you're wearing. This is actually a style. This is not like I didn't brush it this morning.
You know what I thought?
I think it's the combo with like the gray sweater. Do you know?
I think it's a good combo.
It's a great combo.
Yeah.
Don't we have the same hair?
No, you got it. Yeah, that's
got the
nice. What you
claw.
got going there is really nice. Yeah, it is.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
kind of you.
And this is obviously not so
Dude,
nice.
how often?
No, but your
I didn't
hair
mean
is-
to. I didn't mean
No,
to set
that's
that
not
up.
fair.
Hold
Your
on.
hair is
I'm
usually
sorry.
very though like kept in place, so that's why you've got a few pieces, and it doesn't look bad. But I'm not used to it.
No, okay. Well, I'm still offended by it.
Dude, how often do I compliment your hair on the show?
A lot,
all the
actually.
time.
You do. I
But
thought
when
I'd
you
try-
came in today,
I
it
thought
looked
I'd try
like-
something new. That's all.
No, I know you go to the gym in the morning because your body is your
Not today,
temple.
though. Not today, I
Not
didn't.
today. So I'm like, oh, you went to the gym and he showered at the gym and then he came into work, right?
No,
You had
no.
the shower hair.
No, this is meant to be this way.
Wait,
It doesn't look bad.
should we be talking about football?
Yeah, we got to talk about football.
We should mention Edwin, by the way. People who
Yeah.
for some reason don't know who Edwin is. He is one of the voices and writers behind Room 442.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
In town for a few days.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're honoured to have him on
Oh,
set.
that's very kind of you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Finally.
This is why James should be hosting the show.
Oh,
No,
thank
it's your
you.
show, pal.
We got Room
Very nice-
442
very nice
behind
to
us.
be here. Thank you
Presented
very
by
much.
North Star Bets. Okay, let's start with Messi. I'll get your take on what he did in his debut for Inter Miami.
It's so predictably unpredictable, right? I mean, the fact that Messi did it, we shouldn't be surprised by one bit. It's Messi, but whenever he does these things, taking center stage, making it all about him through some moment of absolute brilliance, I guess we should be surprised somewhat, but it's incredible. Now, I will say, the goalkeeper wasn't great,
No.
No.
but regardless of that,
Yeah,
it's an
what's-
incredible free kick.
What's he doing? He's
Oh my
Ooh,
God.
he
No
did-
chance.
he
There's
flapped.
absolutely no chance.
He flaps.
Yeah, he
though.
did.
He did flap.
Yeah.
I think, look at this.
Oh, this
I
guy
show
is doing my head in.
speed, so
He's
So
apparently an influencer.
Yeah, so he's like
Yeah.
the biggest Ronaldo fan in the world. At least he pretends to be.
yeah.
Well, it's
So
funny
there
because
is
he was
the
going
guy
around all the
Ronaldo
Man United games trying to get a picture with Ronaldo, but every time he went there, Ronaldo was on the bench.
Yeah.
And then finally met him, I think, in the World Cup. I think it was, finally. And now he's obviously switching allegiance like Drake does. You know, now I'm a fan of Messi into Miami.
Yeah. Well,
Great
listen,
shout,
I'm not surprised Messi did that. We were talking on the Parlay show earlier today. If Messi did not play, the best player on the pitch by far, Sergio Busquets.
Yeah,
I
that's
thought he
right.
was incredible. And he just
Absolutely
like
insane.
he won't really catch your attention if you're watching him. You don't really know football.
He's one of those players.
He's one of those
he's
players.
under the radar.
Yeah.
He's not flashy. He's a beanpole. He doesn't look really even like much of an athlete, but his touch is absolutely
I
exquisite.
don't think he runs very much either.
No,
He
it's
has
true.
No bad touch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every touch is class. He can turn players inside out and make
And
a fantastic
what
pass.
he can see too.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just
And now Jordi Alba likely to come, and Luis Suarez also
so
being linked.
Okay,
Luis
settle
Suarez,
down.
Okay, Luis Suarez is
It
willing
is.
to pay
I
out
know.
6 months of his salary with Gremio in order to join Messi, Busquets, and Alba. Andres Iniesta, you next.
That's
You know,
also
I love you say that the two best players, though, Busquets and Messi, but neither one of them run very much.
They don't need to. It's
Two
MLS.
highest paid
True.
players, best players, don't run very much. Just saying, it's MLS. You've got to run at some point.
Well, they
It's not
clearly
like
showed they
international
didn't need
football.
to. Well, I guess this was a Leagues Cup, but they showed they didn't need to at all. And if they play an MLS game, I don't think they'll need to either. They're so accurate with their passing, and they're so precise and so smart. Honestly, James, I think we'll have this conversation in like 3 weeks,
Oh,
but
I
I
cannot
think Busquets will be doing just fine.
Well, they got an
playing like
MLS
that.
team tomorrow in Leagues Cup in Atlanta United. So that'll be the
Atlanta.
first MLS test for Messi. And he's expected to start as is Busquets.
But can we just quickly go into this whole Luis Suarez
Sure,
storyline
yeah.
too? Listen, great player, world-class player in his day.
Yeah.
He left Barcelona and left European football for a reason, right? Because his legs are gone.
Oh, okay.
That's a player that I don't think will translate well
Did
to
you see
MLS
his
right
debut
now.
for Gremio? The goals he scored? I'm sorry, but I'm following
How many
Luis
goals
Suarez.
since then?
He's scoring, like, I can look it up now, but he's scoring several goals for Gremio, and they're class goals. Like, I think he had a hat trick not long ago. Like, he's doing really well. And
No, we'll see.
Oh, I think he'll thrive in MLS.
I think they're trying to look to the past. They're trying to grasp at something that was wonderful a few years ago now. It might have its moments and flashes now, but can it be sustained over an entire MLS
Well, it's
season?
quite an MLS thing to do that, isn't it?
Very much
It
so.
is.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? The retirement league, get the superstars over.
Get bums
I
and
know, and
seats,
they don't-
Sorry,
right?
is that not? Can I say that?
No,
here?
you
Is that
can't.
not
Say
pop-
whatever you
can
like
I
to
say
say,
it?
They
Sean.
don't want to call it that.
Yeah.
But then you look at if this Andres Iniesta rumor is actually true. What are we doing here?
It's a Brazilian retirement
What are we
team.
doing here? Yeah, no,
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the average age is going to be 45 years old on Inter
Perfect.
Miami.
Great. I just need to read this for you. So
No,
he
Sarah's
has
so
14
mad right
goals for Gremio since he joined. So in a season, that's pretty good for his age. And the article title is Luis Suarez rolls back the years with another insane goal.
But many European players go back to Brazil or Argentina into their careers.
Yeah.
It's
Sure.
a different type of football.
Yeah.
Marcelo
So
just
all I'm
did it.
saying is, I'm not saying it's better than MLS. It's not.
Yeah.
Well, it is better than MLS. But I'm saying that league is so athletic that it doesn't usually work out for the old guys. Just ask Frank Lampard or Steven Gerrard or Wayne Rooney.
It's true. The level of athleticism is very high.
Yeah,
It
it's
is true.
go,
It's
go.
tenacious, for sure.
Ibra went over there and killed it. Remember
Yeah.
his debut?
Yeah,
We were just talking about
amazing.
like best
Yeah, yeah,
debuts
yeah.
for an MLS team. Ibra, I mean that Messi one, and Pozuelo was thrown out there too. But
Trying to think of the
not the same caliber of player.
He scored on
obviously.
all his debuts, didn't he, Ibra? I think every club team he played for, he scored in his debut.
Yeah, he did. That's right.
That's
Yeah, yeah,
insane.
yeah.
Was it
That
Community Shield for United? I think. Does
Yeah.
that still count?
I think
Yeah,
Jermaine
yeah.
Defoe also scored
Yeah.
on his TFC debut a couple
Yeah,
of
yeah.
goals, I believe,
But it's
as
Messi.
well.
Messi trumps
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
Should we talk about this Mbappe thing? Like it actually might be happening. So
You get
Saudi
a bucket
Arabia,
to puke into.
the Saudi League are now going after Mbappe. The reported number is US dollars. So his salary would be $776 million.
That's the US dollars.
US dollars. The transfer fee is 300 plus alone, which would blow away Neymar's, which was Barcelona PSG around 220 million.
Yeah, right.
That's mad. Like but this would be the biggest of all for Saudi
Yes.
Arabia, and I don't know if it makes the league more watchable because he'd be going over there. What do you
Well,
think?
we were talking about this before, and it's almost like, is this a sort of post-team, post-league move where now your enjoyment of football is just about following one player?
Right.
Is that what it's about? You know what I mean?
I think for
don't
many
know.
it is already, isn't it?
It could
sadly.
well be. It could well be.
I know people that support certain teams and players because of who plays in that team, and then when that guy moves to a new team, they buy that shirt.
Right.
Well,
It's
we were
unforgivable.
we were
Yeah.
talking about.
It's not our era, is it?
No,
It's
exactly.
completely different.
Maybe their
It's
era.
totally
Well,
different.
we were
Maybe
talking
these guys.
about. Don't group me with him. What? No, but with Messi, think about it. Like, think about how many people are watching. I want to say MLS, but let's be realistic. Inter Miami games because of him. That's something that's totally changed the game of football. Like, they're not Manchester United fans watching Premier League anymore. They're, Ronaldo fans watching Al Nassr.
But isn't MLS more palatable than watching Saudi Arabian league?
Totally. But I'm also still, like, so the question is,
Be careful what
what,
you're saying here.
Just.
well, like,
Yeah, well, that's a good point, actually,
yeah,
now you
yeah,
mention
yeah.
it. Yeah, human rights issues, eh? Hmm.
But do you think, okay, so the question becomes, are you guys going to watch the Saudi League this year? Because I'm not. And if Mbappe goes, guess what? I'm still not. I will watch Mbappe's highlights if I hear he has a really good game or a crazy goal. I'm not watching this.
But you're still watching, right? Watching the highlights is the same thing.
No, but I'm not going to go out of my way to watch the
Well, it's
highlights.
also the
it's
same
gonna be
time as the
impossible.
European leagues, right? It's competing with the
Yeah.
Premier League, and I ain't gonna. So I'm not watching Southampton against.
You
they
get a
went down,
penalty
didn't
to
they?
watch.
No,
Not
no,
happening.
no, no,
Not
no.
happening. I'll say we did a poll today actually on the Homestand Twitter account. Would you watch if Mbappe made the move to Saudi Arabia? Almost 80% say no.
Yeah, there you
wow.
go. Proof
At this
is in the
point.
pudding,
It's also
people.
completely unavailable. Where are you going to watch it? You
Yeah.
have to get
That's
a legal
true.
stream, right?
That's right.
Someone's
So what
gonna
happens
pick it up.
when-
Which we never do.
No, never. I would never
do that.
I pay
You
for
know
all
what I
my
mean?
subscriptions.
It would be wrong.
Yeah, that's right.
But
Speaking
what
of
happens
ethics,
when
yeah.
Saudi sign a TV deal or a deal with one of these
Because they
streaming
will at some
services?
point. They're
Yeah,
going to
well,
at some
yeah,
point.
Who's
100%
going to be
will.
the one to do it? Who's going to be the one to go against all the human rights
I know,
and
it's
put their
true.
neck out? Because that's what's scary.
Or
They're
they'll
gonna-
do it themselves, their own stream. They can afford
Yeah.
They
it.
totally could
Hey,
do that.
$10 a month, get to see all this array of stars.
Yeah,
Right? They'll probably do that at some point.
they might have to.
I still can't watch it, but what is the tipping point? At what point do we say, all right, now I'm interested.
How
now you
many
got my
players
attention.
have to go in what kind of numbers? It's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is that?
Well, look at some of the players on this list right now, right? There's some big names: Ronaldo, Benzema, Brozovic, Conte, Hubenev. Hubenev is only 25 years old. I know he's not the biggest name. And then Sharm's favorite player, former favorite player, Jordan Henderson. He's taken a lot of shit for going over,
He has.
based on
Yeah.
what he's done for the LGBTQ.
Everyone's got their
community.
price, right?
The rainbow
that's
laces,
right.
rainbow armbands.
He was a real advocate, did so much for that
Wow.
movement.
Can you-
And now for him to say, you know what, 700,000 a week,
Tripled his salary.
triple his
Okay,
salary.
but
Yeah.
I don't understand. Sorry, I don't understand some of these moves by Saudi Arabia. I think it's. I don't know necessarily think they want some of these players and some of these managers. It's that they're making a point because the Marco Silva one. I don't know if you've seen that. They've been going back and forth with Fulham,
Oh.
and and the
haven't seen
Saudis are doing whatever they can to go and get him, and like whatever, name the amount, we'll pay you for it. And I'm like, okay, Marco Silva's a good manager. He had a good run at Everton. Pretty good last season with Fulham. But there's a lot of Marco Silvas out there. He's not really like a marquee guy. So I almost feel like the Saudis are trying to make a point by we can take whoever we want from your league because we have an endless amount of money.
It's a dick measuring
That's the way it
contest.
feels. It is.
100%.
Yeah, it totally is.
That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And it's making
Please
our...
elaborate.
They want the,
Mine's bigger than yours. That's precisely. Sorry, Premier League, but
yeah, exactly.
yeah, we're
I
pulling a
think
good 9 inches here.
They're disruptors. The PIF, right? They're total disruptors.
That's precisely what they are.
Okay, but my
Hey, well, let's
question
not
is,
kid ourselves.
Ronaldo went to the Saudi league, right? Arguably the biggest player in the sense of like, especially things like social media. He was bigger than
Brand-wise,
Messi.
you're talking. Yeah.
Exactly.
Again, we're just on the same.
And
sorry.
no one went and followed him. Edwin and I were talking off camera, and we were saying it's like Ronaldo fell off the face of the earth. We
Yeah.
weren't watching his goals. We weren't watching his games. And even with Ronaldo, Al Nasser lost to Benfica, got whooped by Celta de Vigo. So I'm still like, if Ronaldo's going and we're not watching, why would I watch for Mbappe?
I think Mbappe will be a 1-year deal too, right?
Oh,
He
he's
wants to
gonna
go to Real
go?
Madrid next year.
He's gonna get the bag.
So this
and
is
then he's gonna
PSG saying, listen, either you play for us or you agree to a move somewhere else, or you're in the stands for an entire season. So he can say, listen, I had to play somewhere for a year.
Yeah.
I'll go there for $1 billion Canadian dollars,
Yes, it
right?
makes sense
$1
in
billion,
that
right?
context, doesn't
For
it?
1 year. And then he can say, yeah, I didn't want to go there, but now I'm going to where I want to go, Real Madrid, and make half the money.
Yeah.
Still obscene amounts of money, right?
I just don't know how you. I know it morally how you can turn that down, but for you're playing less than a year and you're making $1 billion.
Yeah.
Essentially.
And if
That'll
PSG say,
never come around
if
ever
PSG
again.
accept the fee which they have, he has no choice but to either negotiate with them or sit in the stands if you believe that PSG will bench him for an entire season,
Yeah.
which
I
they
find
say
that
they
hard
will.
to believe.
Wow.
I
Which
feel
is
that they're
bullshit
hard
too,
to
because they signed to the contract,
Yeah.
right? And it wasn't a long-term contract; it's a 2-year contract. They signed that deal with him. So then to say, listen, either you better go somewhere else or we'll bench you is crap.
Yeah. There's a report going around that if you look at the salary that Mbappe is probably going to get paid in $700 million, and you take the career earnings of LeBron James and Tom Brady, it's still not as much as Mbappe's salary.
And what happens if all these players go and no one's watching? And how long does that go on for?
Yeah.
And how do you work out whether or not this is a success or if it's a failure? It's so strange, isn't it? Because
yeah.
you can literally just pull these sums of money out of the air,
Yeah.
and the players are going to go.
So what's the
But-
big picture here?
Yeah, that's
It's
right.
sport washing, right? It's just
Yeah.
making their brand a bit shinier.
That's right.
That's what it is,
Is that
but-
really? That's what? Okay,
I think that's what it comes down to. That's why they're putting money into golf, into
Okay.
F1, into all these sports, is to
Boxing.
make the Saudi Arabian image, which is dirt,
Okay.
let's be honest, a little bit better.
To
Yeah.
clean up
Sanitized
their
it.
brand. Okay, so theoretically, it can go in indefinitely
They have the
Yeah,
money.
it's-
To them, that's
and kind of
nothing.
ruin the game
Oh, that's
or change the
literally
game
pocket
Yeah,
fundamentally.
and they have an endless amount of money, and I think this is the push towards the 2030
Yeah.
World Cup.
yeah.
They want
Okay.
that. They want the biggest boxing matches. They want the biggest
Gosh.
golf tournaments. They
They
want
have a
F1,
Grand
which they
Prix
already have.
already.
They just want that. They're using sport
Yeah.
to wash.
The game is
the dirty
changing,
laundry.
man. The game is changing.
It's
Is
true.
it different though to
Eyes.
1992 when the Premier League was born? Is it that different? Forget the ethics involved
Okay,
here for a second,
all right.
right?
Well, can
in
we?
comes
Okay,
Sky. In comes
okay.
Sky though, and as with all this money, and they start procuring the top talent to the Premier League. Took a few years, of course. Up
All
in
right.
the dips and valleys, and the Serie A was there for the 90s. But bottom line is, right now the Premier League is a super league.
Yeah.
Most of the best players go to the Prem now. Best managers go to the Prem. Is it that much different?
And I don't remember, but maybe back in the day, like Saint and Greavesy and those guys were
Yeah.
having the same conversation of like, is football doomed? Is
Yeah,
it
absolutely.
dead?
Saint
So
and Greavesy, you're making me nostalgic
Oh,
now.
what a show!
What
Do
a
you remember
great
that
show.
on YouTube. You got to
Fantastic.
Google that. That was so the intro.
Jimmy
I can still
Greaves
hear
and Ian
that.
St. John.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Did you have that over here, Saint and Greavesy?
No,
No.
no,
What's
no.
happening?
I interviewed Ian St. John though once upon a
Did
time,
you?
and all about that show.
Wow.
Yeah, legendaries.
I don't think
Continue.
it's quite the same though. No, it's the money's not the same though. I know the money back then
Right.
was maybe seemingly a lot, but we're talking about billions. It was not billions, and I don't think we can just say forget about the ethics. We can't. We
No,
can't.
you're right.
True.
So like it was a
'Cause
super
England-
league, but this is
England
a
is silky clean, right? There's no,
yeah,
no
no,
issues
no, no.
there.
I mean, of course they're
I
not.
know what
but
you're saying.
This is, I think, I don't know what else. I think this is still like it's a different level.
Yeah.
It's Giannis Antetokounmpo tweeted out saying, "Al-Hilal, you can sign me." By the way.
Yeah.
Did
Yeah.
he really?
Yeah, with a selfie saying number one. He said, "I'll go for
That's
$1 billion."
that's not smart.
Yeah, it doesn't seem.
Like,
that.
do some
Probably
homework
actually
there.
means
Do
it,
some
though.
homework there.
How long
Probably
before
actually-
one of you guys gets poached?
We talk
It
about
wouldn't
that all
take
the
you know
time.
what I mean?
It
No,
wouldn't
I
take
Yeah,
don't
you
think
would be. I'm sure. I mean,
Listen,
We're
I've
open
got,
to
I've got
offers,
a price,
you
and it's
know.
not 700 million a year.
yeah, there you go. Exactly.
700.
Yeah. I mean, it's endless amount of money. You can do whatever you want. But yes, it's the whole moral thing, which I do not want to get into. Okay, before we get into the Women's World Cup, we have to talk United.
Okay.
You're an United
Okay.
supporter.
Okay, let's do
I
it.
just want your thoughts on the team. What's going on? This David De Gea situation where it's like, thanks for your time with the club. Don't let the door hit you on the way
Pretty
out.
ruthless, eh?
Ruthless.
Pretty
Yeah, how you
ruthless.
feeling
He's
about
not
that?
messing around. Well, I think he'll feel okay. I mean, he used to. He won. Did he win last season? Like that award of like most clean sheets.
Yeah, yeah.
But the thing is, he dropped a whole bunch of howlers as well.
That's
do you know
always
what I
been his
mean?
biggest issue.
And why is that? Why is that? He didn't do it under Fergie, did he?
No, he was maybe
Yeah,
the
he
best
was
goalkeeper
amazing
in Europe for a
when he
long
came
time
in.
there.
So
or England, certainly.
I'm okay. I'm good with the move. You know, I say mix that up.
I think
for sure.
the issue though with him was that they gave him a contract on the table, say, listen, we want you back.
Yeah.
And then they suddenly pulled it back.
Okay.
Right? But this is football, it's sport, it's ruthless, it's tough.
Yeah.
Not
sure.
too much
And
sympathy
maybe
for him.
Man U wasn't ruthless in that way in recent seasons. You know what I mean?
That could
It
be a
let a
good
lot
point.
of players hang around, and certainly in the dressing room, it didn't feel like there was that cut and the pull and the push. And so maybe it's a good signal to the dressing room.
And
you know?
stripping Harry Maguire of his captaincy and giving it to.
I mean, that's hilarious,
Bruno.
isn't it? Stripping. Can you really
Yeah,
use
I
that
know.
verb?
You deserve
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Stripping, like saving.
yeah.
You know, like
Maguire's gotta go
restoring.
now. He's got to go now. You can't keep him in the dressing
I
room.
mean,
after
he
doing that.
he put something out on social media, didn't he?
He
was like,
did.
he was so disappointed.
I was so disappointed.
And you're
He's
looking
like,
at it like, what are you disappointed
yeah,
about, man? I
surely
mean,
you can't expect to keep it when you play like that.
the dude is I mean, what happened there?
He may go down as the worst captain in United history.
The worst signing. And I think my thing about Harry
think
Maguire is
another?
that
He wasn't that bad.
Well, the thing
he's
is-
not great.
the thing is
He's not
he
that
looks
bad.
great in a back three. So when he plays
Yes.
for England
Yeah,
Yes.
with
that-
like
that's
John
a completely
Stones,
different-
Kyle Walker, he plays for England. He spends a lot of the game in the opposing half.
Had a good World Cup, I thought.
Had a great World
well,
Cup.
for Hull and Leicester, they both played in the back three.
That's
Right?
right.
And
Exactly.
he was fantastic.
And he looked awesome. And
he's
he was
actually
scoring a lot of goals.
He's actually
and
a sneaky, like really good ball carrying center back too.
so it seems, but
He has
he's
good
never been
feet,
able to
but-
do that for Man U.
No.
Who signed him? Was it Oli? Or was it? It wasn't Fergie,
Oh.
was it?
Or was it Jose?
Mourinho.
It was Mourinho.
I think
No.
so.
He Jose tried to buy him, and then they bought him a season later for more money. That was what
Who
happened.
was after
And I
Mourinho?
think
I
it was
mean,
Oli.
it was
in
Oli.
there.
Let me look it up.
Yeah, but I've always liked him, but it's
I
hard to
think
get
he's a great player.
It's hard, like,
but for Man, it has not worked, and it must
No.
be because it's the back four. Maybe it's De Gea as well. I don't know what's going on there, but the thing is also
Ole.
for seasons, like prior to Eric Ten Hag, Man U have been this weird.
James. It
There's
was,
such
it
a
was
weird
Ole.
team where like
was
great
Oli.
players
Yeah.
arrive,
Yeah.
and their form drops. Again and again and again. So I don't know. Maybe now we get rid of him. We get rid of De Gea. We shift things around. Maybe Mason Mount. I like Mason Mount.
Me too.
But I'm really not sure about him wearing number 7. That
good number.
does not
Iconic.
feel right to me.
Yeah.
And also, I want to talk very briefly about Jadon Sancho, because do you remember he was going to come and get that number 7 shirt? That's because he likewise he was going to come a season early. It didn't work
Yeah.
out. He came a season later. But it was interesting because Man U just had that friendly in Edinburgh against Lyon, and he scored a fantastic goal on the break. Like the defense was in disarray and he bombed forward and scored, and that was what he used to do in the Bundesliga, where it's like back to back, end to end on the break. That was what he was all about as a player, and it's just not worked for him in the Premier League because teams set up a low block against Man U, and then they're passing it back and forth around the 18-yard box, and he's got Luke Shaw overlapping. He needs to be flying at players at pace. With
Just
the
needs to
ball
be
at his
more
feet.
direct,
That's
yeah.
right.
He was
and
playing at centre forward, wasn't he, as well?
That's
for
right.
United
Exactly.
in pre-season.
Exactly.
Because they have no one else.
Yeah.
No,
so-
well, it's Rashford doesn't really want to play down the middle too, right?
That's
He'd rather
right.
play on the wing. But
Yeah.
listen, this happens to a lot of players, especially with City, where they come in like Jack Grealish,
Sure.
Riyad Mahrez
Took
when he
a
went to
season.
City. It
Yeah.
took a season, right?
Yeah.
It takes a season.
Yeah, but he
sometimes.
also went away for 2 months, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He was dealing with a lot off the
That's
field,
right, yeah.
some mental health issues apparently as well.
who's that?
Sancho.
Sancho.
This past
Oh,
season, right?
okay,
So
okay.
I think he had difficulty dealing with the big move
Okay.
and maybe the
Pressure,
contract.
yeah.
I think
Because
you're
the
right.
talent's there, you're right. I mean,
I
he could
think
be
you're
a
right.
world beater, I think.
Yeah.
And I also think United need a true number 9 to play with him.
Yeah.
You saw how good he
Well,
was. I know it's Holland, I get
Mate,
it, but he was
Harry Kane, please.
well,
Please.
that would be the move for United.
But Sky's
Yes.
reporting
Has
today
to
that
be.
won't happen because they can't afford it through financial fair play.
Okay.
That's
And they can-
Sky saying that today.
Wow.
But they could sell and bring him in still.
Okay.
So
That's
I don't
the
know
move.
what's going to happen with Harry Kane. We talk about it all the time. I have no idea.
Spurs want to sell him to Bayern, I think.
I don't think that's
because
real.
they want to get him outside of England.
Sean, I
sure.
think they're just trying to use Bayern to drive the price up.
Well, the owner that came in, not leaving the actual
Joe
real owner.
Lewis.
Yeah, Joe Lewis has been saying that. Listen, he will not walk for free. So either sign
Well, sure.
or
can't.
Yeah,
sell.
that would be. Imagine Harry Kane going for free.
It's
No,
insane,
you
isn't
can't.
it?
Be like a William Nylander.
Yeah. So he's got to. So
No,
so
no.
so he's
No,
going to
no, don't
go.
do that.
So he
Don't.
has to go. So he's going.
I think so.
He's got to go.
I think he will, but it may not be this summer. It may be before the window closes in the end of August.
Okay.
One of those really annoying ones that go
Late
on
ones
and on and
or
on.
January maybe.
Oh, no.
Possibly, yeah,
Possibly
but that's
even.
dangerous though, right?
Yeah,
If you're
for-
Spurs and you're in contention,
Yeah.
no, so, yeah, January it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very funny, very funny. Who else is linked to PSG right now? Mohamed
Shut
Salah? Yeah, exactly.
Oh really?
Yeah, well, if
Everybody's
mate, it's
linked to
crazy.
PSG.
If
It's
they,
like
if they
it's like
sell,
a housing
Sell
market.
Yeah,
isn't it?
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Sell,
It's
buy,
gonna
sell.
be
You're in
a
a
chain
chain.
reaction.
if they sell
Yeah,
Mbappe
yeah.
for 330, they can afford to buy Mo
Is it
for
no kidding?
100.
Yeah.
And it's funny with both Mbappe and Harry Kane in that same situation of 1 year left. So it's like any potential buyer, you just hang on 12 months to get him for free potentially.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's a weird
But
market.
it's just a
right now.
massive bidding war at that
Yeah,
point,
yeah,
right?
yeah, totally.
And the thing with Spurs, you can't let them walk for free. When there was 100 million out there, I think it was from City,
Okay.
and you didn't
Yeah.
take it.
What
Yeah.
a
That
few
was
seasons ago?
Well, that was before
Yeah.
Holland.
Oh, they
yeah.
didn't take. I know.
Yeah.
That's insane.
And his brother, who's his agent,
Charlie.
didn't put a get out clause.
No.
So oh my gosh,
so
it's so
stupid.
sad, isn't
I
it?
don't know what's going
So
on.
why do you
So
ever
sad.
have family doing your contracts for
I
you?
know.
Don't
Imagine
do it.
Harry
No.
Kane in that City team. It's perfect.
It's a
Must be.
tragedy for Harry Kane. It is a tragedy.
Especially like seeing what City won.
I know.
Would
And
they have signed Haaland though? Had they done that deal?
I don't think so. I don't think you'd need to. And arguably, Harry Kane is a better fit for Man City than Haaland.
Yeah, they
I
wouldn't have
agree.
as many
Yeah.
goals, but they'd still have.
They'd be
a good
super.
amount.
Yeah,
I think they'll win the championship still.
I think
absolutely.
so too.
Oh, the treble.
They won the
I-
treble.
They win
Let's
the
be honest,
treble either
it did
way.
work out pretty well for them, didn't
I'm
it?
sad for Harry Kane.
I think if he
I'm
goes-
sad, I'm sad about
I think
that.
he goes for some reason. I think he goes to Chelsea. It's just they have the money.
There's no way Spurs send to Chelsea.
Hodge is
No,
there.
Zero
not
chance.
another
No chance.
London
If
team.
Joe Lewis is saying you got to sell him,
No way.
Maybe Joe Lewis. Maybe the dick measuring contest applies.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, Todd Bowley's involved.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, the measuring
Whatever you
tape
want.
is coming out in London one way or another.
And who's their number
That's
9?
it. Measures
Yeah,
coming
that's
out.
it.
Yeah,
Who's
Who's
absolutely.
Chelsea's number 9 right now? Is it Lukaku?
They haven't got one. Well, Lukaku, yeah, it is.
It is.
It is.
On paper, it's Lukaku.
Isn't Lukaku trying to stay?
So if I'm Chelsea, Todd Bowley,
They need a
what do
centre
we need
forward.
to do to make this happen?
It's crazy what they've
Yeah.
spent and what they've brought in, and they haven't got a centre forward yet.
Yeah.
know.
If Lukaku's going out,
Yeah.
it's unforgivable.
won't.
And terms they're not in Europe either, which is a huge advantage.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
finish the top 4, potentially win the
That's
Premier League. I
true.
know it's gonna be tough against
That's
But
City.
to
true.
attract players without Champions League football is difficult,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
Who the hell
Yeah.
knows what Harry wants?
I
It's-
personally feel like Harry Kane to buy in. I don't feel like that's a great move for Harry
No,
Kane.
yeah.
It's kind of a weird.
Why not?
it's-
He wins trophies, guaranteed trophies. That's the one thing in his career he hasn't got his trophies.
You're right.
Go to
but it's,
Bayern,
but it's
there you
like
go.
Bundesliga. I don't know.
Champions League though.
Yeah, it's all true. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. It's like the
Yeah.
Bundesliga.
No, I'm with you.
The Bundesliga is somewhere that like you leave the Bundesliga to go
For
to
sure,
go up.
but
So it's
I think
it's,
Bayern's different,
It's
though,
a
don't you?
lateral
Yeah,
move at
that's-
best.
they're like
yeah,
above
Other clubs, I agree.
but
they still
you're
managed
right.
to win the Bundesliga this past season when
Yeah.
they had
He's obsessed
absolutely
with
no business.
he's obsessed with breaking Shearer's record. He wants to win with Spurs, which is not going to happen, but he wants to win in England. So
How
I
far
just-
off is he? Like 50 goals or something? Or
No, I think it's more than that, isn't it? It's like,
He wouldn't do it this year. I think there's the year after next.
he's going to do it. If
Okay.
he stays, he'll
Probably
do it.
do.
If he
Well, he
stays,
could
he'll
do it at Man U.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
You know what? That
Just
is the
saying.
perfect fit for him.
Just saying.
It is. Forget
Yeah.
money, and
Outside
that
of
is the
London,
perfect
too.
fit for Harry Kane. Is
Yeah.
United.
Is there a way they could do like a
100%. Yeah.
loan deal and something?
Oh jeez.
I don't know.
But that's interesting because you never hear about this. What is he called? Joe Lewis, the Spurs.
Lewis, yeah.
You
Yeah.
never hear. You saw Daniel Levy.
First time ever.
Daniel
Yeah.
Levy doing his thing, you know, just like the toughest negotiator in the world, like messing up Modric, messing up Gareth Bale. Do you know what I mean? So maybe this name appearing, maybe I don't know, maybe there's a glimmer of hope for Harry Kane.
I
Who
think so.
knows?
Listen, Spurs are going to need the money. They're not getting it from anywhere else. So
Yeah.
Yeah, and
You
a
gotta
glimmer
sell-
of hope for Man U fans.
Yeah.
Oh,
Spurs.
as if you need hope. How
yeah.
many trophies have you guys won in the last
please.
20
Yeah.
years?
Yeah, and you're also competing in Europe.
No
this
sympathy
season.
whatsoever.
Fair
You'll be
enough.
fine.
By the way,
Fair
Spurs
enough.
are dead. If Kane leaves before the season starts,
Goodbye.
Yeah.
there's nobody else.
Dude,
There's
you
no
can't- you kind of
Richarlison?
you sort of dead anyway. Come on, man.
The window is still wide open until the end of August.
Yeah.
That's true.
A lot
Yeah.
of players
There's a lot
available.
that
Yeah,
can
we still
happen
have
now.
over a month of
Yeah.
just
Of crap.
being twisted and
Just
turned.
It's true.
Crap
Yeah.
and lies
Yeah, like
and vitriol and rumor.
It's true.
I just came across a really random transfer. Raul Jimenez to Fulham.
Yeah,
I saw that as
I
well,
Saw that
yeah.
as well. Yeah.
Why would you buy someone who can't score? I have no idea.
He could score before he got.
He got brain
Yeah,
damage.
but he can't do it anymore. I don't know if it's like a fear thing or
He's 1 goal since. I think he came back from injury, right?
has it just been the one?
I think
goal?
it's 1 goal.
That's bad.
Dude, it's a
Well,
head
and-
injury. That's
Valid excuse.
He's
though, isn't
been
Pretty
yeah,
good excuse.
he's
Yeah.
been so bad. Wolves had to sign Diego Costa. You remember that?
Who scored
Remember
1
with
goal?
the, with
I
the
think.
wolves
Yeah.
with, on the chains, the little,
Yeah, good promo video, but
Crazy Diego Costa.
okay, quickly, let's wrap up with some Women's World Cup.
Yeah.
I know the Canadian ladies are back in action on Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday
against
morning
Ireland.
against Ireland. We'll get into that, I'd say, more tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure.
Recapping the weekend, though. USA 3-0 over Vietnam. Alex Morgan missed a penalty. Big news is, well, England beat Haiti only 1-0.
Just.
Two English gentlemen here. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but that should have
won,
been
right?
Yeah,
They did
exactly.
win. Should have been a smashing.
Shut
Okay.
up, Sarah.
All right.
They won.
Here
Yeah.
we go. We have Brazil smashing Panama, playing some of the best football I've
Yeah.
seen this World Cup so far. They look incredible. Italy beating Argentina and Germany smashing Morocco. By the way, Alexandra Popp, your favorite name in female football, 2 goals on the board in the first game as
like
one of the
it.
top goal scorers, so watch out for her. Then we have tonight, who is it? Colombia and South Korea getting into action. And then tomorrow we restart from the beginning. Everyone's going into match day 2, host New Zealand taking on Philippines with Switzerland and Norway.
And the Kiwis could
Go ahead.
qualify for the next round for the first time in their history with a win,
Yeah.
and they should beat the Philippines, so good for them.
Edwin, is this a big deal in the UK?
Yes.
Yeah,
It is,
the
eh?
Lionesses
Yeah,
are
yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, it's huge over there. It's huge.
It doesn't seem that way.
It was
here.
because of last summer, right, when they won the Euros.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It was a huge thing.
Yeah.
And I think without winning the Euros, it may not have been as big a thing. Is that fair
That's
to
true.
say?
It's on the up though, for sure.
Yeah, Sharma was just telling me you were talking to someone from Australia.
Yeah, I was away this past
And they
week
didn't
or
know
so.
this was even going on.
Some Aussies, and they didn't
Wow.
have a clue. Now listen, I
You gotta be really.
love my in-laws. They're great. Love my family. I had a great time. It was,
These are members
it was
of
wonderful.
your family?
My in-laws, yeah.
Wow.
So and let me
That's
tell
tough,
you,
man. That's tough.
watching football with a non-football audience is awful. And when it's a 0-0, so I watched a Canada game, obviously, right? And with this crowd of people that don't know the shape of football, all they know is the stereotypes associated with football, including no one ever scores, and it finished 0-0.
Tick, 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 tick.
It was so painful. I had to get so drunk to enjoy it.
Ah.
I just had to.
And did you?
So yeah,
Okay, good.
Yeah.
of course I did.
That's a
Anything's
win-win. Yeah.
possible.
Back from vacation, new hairdo, new hairstyle, looking phenomenal.
Exactly. Yeah,
Thanks,
yeah.
Sharma.
But looking great apparently.
All right,
You
let's
two.
wrap it up. Edwin, thanks so much for
Hey,
hopping
thank
on.
you
We
guys.
Appreciate it.
Lovely to be here.
We'll
Thank
be
you very
back
much.
tomorrow with more Homestand Show right here on the Homestand YouTube channel at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Please join us then.